All right, and we are just getting started. I am just going to be talking for a little bit, probably about my story and what I kind of hope for this podcast to achieve. It feels weird to be looking at myself right now and talking into my microphone, but I think it'll just get easier and easier over time. Essentially, who I am Alex, and I am a self taught web developer, programmer. I am very much still a code newbie, and I feel like I will continue to be even when I'm not. And I might not even really be, but it's pretty subjective. And I do love the idea of being a code newbie because I think even if you are an expert, you're still always learning different things, new things, and I think that I think that's just a great thing. So, anyway, that's me in terms of what I do, who I am. A little bit of my background. I am from California. I'm originally from California. I live in France, in the southwest part of France, in a city called Toulouse, and I've been living here for the past 5 years now. And I just love the French lifestyle. I uh, there's just a lot to be said about living as like as an expat, and especially a place that your language isn't the first language spoken, and it just adds a lot of complexity and just interesting moments in life that I am a really big fan of. Um, so I first came here in 5 years ago in 2015. I was working as an au pair with a family that I love and I still keep in touch with today. After that, I started working as an English teaching assistant in a French high school for 2 years. And I was thinking that maybe I would be a teacher, and I definitely saw that I didn't want to be a teacher after being a teaching assistant. Just in terms of, I've kind of discovered that I'm a bit of an introvert, and I've discovered that I don't like being up in front of classrooms full of 15 to 18-year-olds. Maybe it's just the cultural differences of being an American and trying to teach in France, but I realized that I'm more drawn to um, working on interesting projects individually and as a team, but just being able to be a little bit more behind the scenes and using more of my creativity and logic in terms of that. Um, After 2 years of that, so in 2017, I kind of get mixed up. I think 2018 it was. I was just finishing up teaching. My contract was coming to an end, and I knew I wanted to stay in France, but I didn't want to be a teacher or a tutor, which is kind of, you get a little bit pigeonholed as an American in France or in Europe, I think, in terms of going down the teaching English route. And I didn't want to do that. So kind of as a bit of a meant to be thing, just at the perfect moment, I landed this amazing job with an all remote company, um, a startup, and I worked with them for about almost 2 years. And at the end of last year, December 2019, I left. I ended up leaving that company in order to pursue a full time journey of teaching myself how to program. And I had started programming, or I had started coding, learning to code HTML and CSS. I want to say a year and a half ago, while I was working in I should have mentioned it was customer support. Um, and I started coding about a year and a half ago. I found a great mentor and friend, a couple of them on the engineering team of the company where I was working, and it just was kind of a putting one foot in front of the other and just getting to it kind of thing. And so after about 7 months of teaching myself, I ended up leaving the company, as I said, and just pursuing full-time teaching myself. And so at the beginning of leaving, I was very fortunate to have built up a good savings padding for myself, because I knew I didn't necessarily want to jump into a new role immediately. I wanted to give myself that long runway to really get myself up off the ground and enjoy what I was learning and following my own creative pursuits, I like to say. And so yeah, after that, a bit of a mindset shift later on from going to, okay, I need a job immediately, I need to apply for as many jobs as I can, and then getting tired of the whole applying to just random jobs that you'd never heard of, to companies you'd never heard of, just because they were hiring, and then never hearing back. I just got so tired of it, and then I had to switch my mindset. And then I had to switch my mindset a little bit to one of, okay, I'm going to narrow down the types of companies I want to work for, really get to know them. But I think that even at this point, I'm not really there yet. I'm kind of more, I want to keep creating for the sake of creating. I'm launching this podcast, and yeah, we're going with it. But anyway, that's me. My main language is JavaScript. I'm loving JavaScript. In the past 6 months, I've been able to, what have I been able to do? I set up and launched and ran my own email newsletter for parents whose kids were stuck at home due to COVID-19 lockdowns. And so that was awesome. I ran that for a couple of months. I submitted a project for a hackathon, which I had never done before. And I learned a ton in the process, and I learned a ton about being stressed out about a project and then being exhilarated by solving problems. So that was a major emotional roller coaster. And just been able to make new connections. I'm actually going to be speaking at a virtual conference. Usually it's in person. It's Codeland Distributed, and that's going to be in 1 month in July. So I've been putting my talk together, and so that's been a real experience, and getting more and more comfortable with putting myself out there and sharing my story, and hopefully inspiring others to do the same. So that's me in a nutshell. I'm really excited about this podcast. It's going to be, the episodes after this are going to be more themed around a certain thing, but this is just more of a introducing myself, talking a little bit about my own story. Yeah, so keep a lookout for that. I don't know how to finish this. Keep a lookout for that. If you want to learn a little bit more about me or my journey, I blog almost every day, and you can find that at www.alexmortoncreative.com. And you can go also to www.ladiescodecollective.com for more information about this community, this podcast, and the productivity cohorts that I will be hosting very soon. So you'll want to join the email list and get on that train. All right. Thanks, everyone, and I will talk to you soon.